William Mark said that the team's going to respond. How have they responded in practice?
Yeah, I thought they did some good things. I think we came out with the right mentality and mindset. At the end of the day, it's never going to be perfect on a Tuesday. Guys are still getting back from from being a little nicked up, but I thought the guys' mentality, for the most part, the execution was there for what we're trying to get done this week.
In the passing game, I know the execution always isn't there on Saturday. Has the execution been there throughout the weeks?
Yeah, I think we throw and catch it a little bit better during the week of practice than we end up doing on Saturday, and can't really always point to why, for one reason or another. It's just overall, execution. Pitching, catching, run the right route at the right depth, and just making some throws and being in the right timing and rhythm and making the right decision. I think we made the right decisions for the most part. On Saturday, we just, at the end of the day, we have to make those throws and make those catches.
Did you ever go through that as a quarterback, or just wasn't hitting right?
Yeah, I think you go through some things as a player at any time, and you lose it a little bit, or just maybe it's just not, in the game hitting. And I think, it's just going to hopefully take some time. Maybe it just takes a play. Maybe it takes a game for us to click. It needs to click. We want it to click. We're working on it to click, and at the end of the day, it just hasn't quite yet. And there's been moments, but hopefully here soon, one of those games or one of those moments or one of those plays allows us to start to click on all cylinders.
William, in 21, you've talked about. I think it was that LSU game. It was week 6 when it finally started to click.
Yeah.
What happened to make it click that year, and can you see signs of things?
Yeah, I think. You saw some of it against Florida, in one part of the game, right? Like we ran it really well, and that helped us, that helped it click a little bit. But the pass game took obviously a little bit of a hit and wasn't quite clicking. And it's just coming back to work every day and ultimately, putting your head down and going to work and getting it, trying to work at it. These kids aren't going to quit. The coaches aren't going to quit. We're not going to just say, well, we haven't thrown the ball well, so let's just stop throwing it. I didn't do that Saturday as a play call. I trusted these kids to make throws and catches, and I'm going to continue to do so until that happens.
Liam, speaking of 2 years ago, that loss at Georgia was an emotional loss. That turned into losses at Mississippi State and then here to Tennessee. So do you see anything? You look for anything in your guys to make sure that doesn't happen?
No, this is a different team.
Right.
It's a new team. We try not to go back to some of those experiences, and unless it's something you can learn from. And I think at the end of the day, I think we have the right guys in that locker room. I think we have the right coaches on the staff. On the offensive staff, obviously, to right the ship and get it right. And, I think that we came out today, our good-on-good period was pretty physical. You could tell the defense came out with the right mindset mentality. We tried to match that as well. And, I think that we're just got to get back on track. Just got to come back to work and see what happens.
This Missouri defense,
yeah.
What do you see from them on film?
They're salty. They're well coached. They're very well coached. They'll pressure you. They'll play some three. They're not afraid to get up in your grill and play man coverage. I think they rush the passer pretty well. They create some confusion at the second level. Their linebackers can run. Their safety, I remember number 1, the safety that's been playing, for a couple of years now. They're smart. You can tell. Their third down package is pretty annoying. And they just do some good things. They're just a good, solid defense that, it's a huge test for us. Obviously coming off struggling on our side of the ball to score points and move the football, for us to come back with the right mentality and come out and execute at a high level.
Coaches talk sometimes about 24-hour rule, whether you win or lose, you got to flush it after 24 hours. Is it easier to get over a game like that than, say, a last-second loss, or are all losses about the same?
I think they're all probably about the same. This one, it's sitting in here. I think it's sitting in here for a lot of these guys, and we watched it as an offensive unit yesterday, and had a good ownership meeting about how the players were the ones more so doing the talking and coaching themselves, coaching each other, talking to each other, which was good to see. You know, sometimes things like that help bring you together a little bit and hold everybody accountable. But yeah, it's sitting in here, you know, and it usually doesn't go away till you play the next game.
I mean, how was Josh Gaddis? We saw you all go to him in the red zone.
Yeah.
Again. How is he emerging as a target, particularly in those situations?
Yeah, Josh just, I mean, he comes out here every single day, doesn't say a word, works, details his work, competes his tail off. He's a guy that, you know, you love to coach, you love to be around. There's just there's not many negatives I can say about the kid, really. He's a great teammate, great student, just type of kid that he shows up and does all the right things, and he makes plays when his number's called. And at the end of the day, those are the guys that need to continue to get the football and also play for us.
Can you just talk about overall thoughts after watching the film from
Georgia? You can't have those penalties early on really kill you when you're on the road in that environment playing the #1 team in the country. You're in 2 scoring positions and you end up going backwards, and those situations are hard to overcome no matter really who you're playing, but especially playing the #1 overall team in the country. We did some good things, but we didn't execute on 3rd down very well. We had some protection busts. We had some communication issues. And at the end of the day, we just kind of, at times, blew some gaskets a little where, we did things that we haven't done. And, that can happen in big situations, big games, and hopefully we can learn from it. Anything like that's hopefully a learning experience that you can move on from, so that when you are in that situation again, well, you can actually go back to that experience and say, hey, how can I make this better this time? So definitely wasn't perfect by any means, but hopefully we can learn from it.
Mark said that Dane really went about his business the right way and it showed up on Saturday. So what exactly did that look like? What did you see?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the work week we had, really challenged him, or not so much challenged him, but worked with him on, route running. We had showed him, really go back to Georgia last year. We watched him. He didn't have, I think he had like a couple catches, but he really was running great routes, playing really well without the ball in his hands. And we just kind of really dove into him a little bit in terms of, hey, how can we get better, right? And that's all that it really comes down to. And I thought it showed up Saturday. I know he had 3 catches, had a couple more ops, but his route running, his detail, the way he was playing fast with the ball when he did get it. I was proud of Dane, for taking the right step forward in that direction.
Is that what Mark was talking about when right angles with receivers?
Yeah.
That really just what it comes down to?
Yeah, sharp, just everything we do sharp. Sharp routes, detailed routes, just the way we run routes, not with our eyes down in the ground and eyes up, the work defenders, using your eyes as a weapon. There's a lot that goes into route running. It's not just, this and this, right? There's a lot that goes into it, and so we're trying to master that, and that's where we're getting to.
Aside from that, Mark talked about some footwork or mechanical things with Devin a little bit yesterday. What are you seeing there, and also how do you instill some confidence in him when he is slumping and making sure there's not also a mental side? Yeah,
I think the kid's pretty mentally tough. He's gone through a lot, to be throwing the ball and to be playing right now, and I think it's just sticking with him, and working through it. It's not perfect right now. It's not what any of us planned or hoped for. But at the end of the day, we got to get through it. We got to be there for him to be able to get through it. And there's some things when the Bullets, were flying on Saturday that, things are happening in the pocket. And, just at the end of the day, he just needs to go out and play his game and be confident, be Devin Leary, because Devin Leary that I know is a confident dude that comes out and can sling the thing. And we need to get that guy going, and I think he will.
Liam, I know that Darian's been dealing with injuries, but how is he doing mentally in his second year when he's got a lot of attention?
Yeah, I think he's been great, honestly. He typically comes out here with a big smile on his face and, wants to work. I saw a kid today, out here just trying to get better, working at his craft, being a good teammate, being a good kid to coach. That's just who he is. I love being around Barry-On, and it's at the end of the day, you know, he battled through it, and you know, gave us some reps, and hopefully we can get him back going. And I'm proud of him for competing through it. I love the kid.
Hey, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Mark was very adamant that this team would respond. How confident are you that they'll be ready to roll Saturday?
I'm from Youngstown, man. So is he, and I've been with him a long time. And just his message, and it ain't just him. It's the other coaches and the players, and I mean, hell, even the trainers, everybody. That was unacceptable, and you know, we flushed it, but we ready to go. And big game this week.
This series has been really close. Well, what about this game? How do you use it to make sure your guys are fired up, ready for Saturday?
I don't think it's. I mean, when you get beat like that, and you know, with the players we got in that locker room and the coaches we got on the staff, it don't take much to get us up to go get ready for another game. And if you're not ready, you're gonna get the same results that happened last week, because you know, I have a lot of respect for Missouri. I think we kind of similar. We both physical teams, blue-collar teams, and you know, I know since he got there, it's really been some physical games. So, no, our guys know what's going on. They know what's up. Yeah.
When there's a lot of chatter online and stuff, do you tell your guys to stay away from it, or do you kind of like them maybe getting a chip on their shoulder?
They don't have to worry about that because I'm going to tell them. So, but when you say chatter, like all the little noise going on now, you know, no, I haven't. Look, man, we have raised this program to a certain standard, and you know, if our fans are upset the way we play, I'm not. Hell, I'll probably be along with them. You know, we at a point now where we ain't in 2013, where it's just you show up and play football. So I understand their, you know, anger and upset, but trust me, Mark Stoops is, to me, the only coach that could have did this where we at right now. Anybody else who try to say somewhere, somebody else, this is a hard league, and for where he has took this team and where we're at right now, you know, I think in the last 5 years, he's the fourth all time, you know, fourth winningest coach in the league. And if you would have told me that when we first got here, what we was dealing with, I hold that comment, okay?
Why do you think he's the only guy who could have done this?
Because he is. I think it took I think some of the people in the past, when they talked about it, and I know people who had this job and people who been in this program, you know, they said, for some reason, they did not recruit Ohio. And I think when we first got here, Ohio was probably one of the states that really, you know, saved us and really bought credibility of players coming in. And then once we started winning, we got credibility, and people from other states start saying, okay, these guys are coming. I think you got to have some type of connection in Ohio. Anybody just can't come in Ohio and recruit it. I think the other staff tried to, but they seen what that was like. So, and I just think the type of guy he is, this was a tough job. I don't know if it's a tough job now, meaning like I think we have credibility in the league. Matter of fact, I know we do. But when we first came in, it was hard, and I think he was the right guy to bring in to change this around. And he's been pretty smart when we lose a coach. He hires good coaches. He kept his core coaches. So, man, Georgia's a pretty good team last time I checked. I mean, the last time I checked, they're a pretty good team. Did we shoot ourselves in the foot? I thought on the offensive side, I thought we was just as physical as them. We did a lot of mistakes, but our guys watched that film and they seen some things that, hey, we could have really, really capitalized on some things. So I do believe he's the only guy who can do that.
Coach, what do you say?
Being, and Liam did too, about being more detailed with the wide receiver. So what exactly does that look like in practice?
It just needs to, you know, go out there and you know, do what you're coached and do it every time. Not do it right the first time, just do it right every time. You know, and these guys are trying to every day. They're getting better every day, and it's not that we're not playing with details. There's just some aspects where, you know, the defense may do something that gets us off our game a little bit. You know, but we're going out there at a high level and we're trying to do what we got to do.
How did you see Dane kind of respond after last week and kind of take that work and practice into the game?
Yeah, you know, Dane had, I thought, took a step in the right direction last week, made some competitive catches, you know, which after the last couple of weeks we tried to focus on that in practice. You know, there's so many things as a wide receiver that, you know, you try to focus on in practice, and you can't do it all every week. So last week, the main priority for everyone was competitive catches, and you kind of saw that with Dane. Made a couple big-time catches in down last week in Georgia.
How important is it for this passing game to have some things go right for them to kind of build some confidence?
You know, that is true, you know, and just talking to Coach Grant actually today, he said it just takes one ball, you know, one throw and catch to turn this thing around. So I think, you know, we're not pressing by any means. We're trying to, you know, just go out there and do our job. Devin the same way. You know, we throw and catch a lot during the week, during practice. And, you know, I think it's going to click here sooner or later.
Mark talked yesterday about Dane, and Landon.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just making the layups, making the easy throws, getting back to just playing the way I've always played, you know, not thinking too much. Not that I'm saying that I did. I wasn't really super nervous or anxious or anything, but it's more so just doing what you're practiced to do, doing what you're coached to do. And, you know, for me, it's just, you know, taking one play at a time, you know, taking a deep breath before the play and, you know, just executing.
People have wondered, speculated that the surgery might have affected your accuracy. Do you feel any different now throwing the ball versus before the injury last year?
No, sir, I don't.
Liam said it might only be one throw away, so is there any magic in that sauce, or do you all just kind of need to have some good things to really break through?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think it starts in practice. That's the thing. I think, you know, you could say it's one step away or one throw away, but at the end of the day, those throws need to be made. Those completions need to be made, especially in games like that. And, you know, I put a lot on myself, you know, my biggest critique. And, you know, I always tell the offense that, you know, it starts with me. It starts with how I'm managing the game, how I'm operating the offense. And, you know, honestly, there's no excuse for it to be one step off or, you know, a 1 yard away from a catch. You know, it's my job to give those guys a chance and make sure that we can make plays. And, you know, that just didn't happen on Saturday on some instances. So I just got to be better.
We've seen the glimpses from like the Vandy game. It seemed like you were, you know, completing some down the field. Is there something that kind of is just going to happen? Like, what do you feel like needs to happen for that to just happen consistently?
Yeah, I think it's just the rhythm and the course of the game. You know, when we get momentum or, you know, we're running the ball really well or play action or dropping back, hitting some open completions, it's about building with that momentum, you know, not taking steps backwards, not, you know, missing easy layups or, you know, causing penalties to hurt ourselves, just little things that kind of stop our momentum. I think we're a very explosive group. We have a lot of guys that can make a lot of plays, but, you know, if we hurt ourselves, we kind of just, you know, stop that rhythm from happening.
Everybody good?
I got
one more. Okay.
Saturday aside, you got several games where second half you're just almost perfect. You know, what happens at halftime? You know, what do you channel? What do you get into?
Yeah, I think it's just, you know, the adjustments a little bit. Guys settling in, me settling in too. But, you know, we got to start fast. It's definitely something that, you know, it's good to see. You know, in the second half we pick things up, but, you know, for instance, like last week, that those opportunities, if you miss on those opportunities early on, they could come back to catch you. And it's hard to play catch up sometimes. And, you know, like I said, it starts with me. Like, if we complete that ball early on or we kind of get a rhythm going, you know, it feels like a whole different course of the game. And I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, that's just how football is, because I'm my biggest critique. I know I can make those throws. I know that that's very capable because we do it all the time in practice. So I just think it's just something that has to translate. It's something that, you know, as much as you want it to happen, it's only going to happen for that given play. You can't think too far. You can't think too far behind. So, you know, I just think channeling into just 1-0, truly each and every play is the only play that matters.
Liam said Missouri's defense is salty. You haven't played against them. I don't think you've ever played against them. But what do you know to expect? Yeah,
I think they're a really good defensive group for sure. They have a lot of good personnel. They do some good things in the secondary, but I think what you see with this group is they're tough. They're hard-nosed. I mean, they pride themselves on playing man-to-man football, loading up the box, and basically just have you stop them. So we know it's going to be a tough four-quarter game, but, you know, we're excited for the challenge.
You're facing easier to flush a game like that than it is, say, like a last-second loss.
That's a tough question. I think a loss is a loss. I mean, obviously you never want to lose like the way that we did, but honestly, as a football player, you don't ever play to lose. So any loss that you kind of take on is never easy. But I think, you know, being around coaches like this, being around players, you know, here that have experience and been around the game for a long time, you know, they just challenge us to learn from it and flush it, and have the best Tuesday practice that we can have, because that's the only thing that matters. And as a leader and a guy that's played a good amount of football, that's really the best way to handle a loss is not let it be a snowball effect. Just continue to get better, learn from the mistakes, and honestly not let it happen again.
Nick, last one.
You're going up against a guy that recruited you. What did you remember from your time back in high school and Coach Drink's recruiting you, or even that 1 year together at NC State?
Yeah, Coach Drink recruited me to go to NC State out of high school. We had a great relationship. He was able to coach me for 1 year at NC State. I was a redshirt year. I was kind of a scout team guy. Didn't really know too much that year, honestly. So, he recruited me from New Jersey. Blessed that he gave me the opportunity to be able to go play college football at NC State. But I'm looking forward to going against him for sure.
Is he a funny guy when he's